Good evening, everyone. Today is Tuesday, April 14th. The time is 7:30. I call the Marlborough Public School Committee meeting to order. I'd like to remind everyone that we are being filmed and streamed by WMCT-TV. If I could have everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Alrighty. Quite a few things on the agenda, so we'll dive right in. First up, we have the presentations from the Student Advisory Council. So if you all want to step up. You always do a different order, so I'm not going to call out the name. So whoever wants to come up first.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Altagracia Toussaint, and I'm the senior SAC representative. And I'm here to talk about my firsthand experience in the EMT program. The EMT program is a program funded and controlled by Pride Star. And the program is implemented in our school thanks to Mrs. Deoracious, Pride Star, and Tammy Hughes, which is our teacher. The whole process started with applying to the EMT class, and we have letters of recommendations that we have to give. Then we go into interviewing with the teacher, and really the interview is about asking us questions to really make sure that we are doing it for the right reasons and not just because it's cool, because it is cool, but because we want to be in healthcare or public safety or just wanting to help people in general. We started the school year with our class decorated with dummies everywhere. Teachers getting scared passing by because they see dummy, they think it's a real person. We start with getting our CPR card. We are CPR certified in the beginning. We are also first responders. And then the real EMT training starts with our big book and our workbook, in which we have homework and every single day. It's fun, but also overwhelming because there's a lot of homework every single night on top of our schoolwork and other classes that we have. But it's really fun. We also had Thanksgiving by having purple pigs, so we had food as well in the class. As much as we are learning, we also having food. We had a presentation that same day as well about medication, so it's really fun. Our teacher makes sure it's a fun class for us as well. Some people wrote a different lyrics about the medication, but it was with the soundtrack of Feliz Navidad, so that was fun to hear. We had another project about creating our own little town with a public safety system. Some people do it about flowers. The theme was flowers. Some people do it LeBron James. Some people had Minecraft. Mine was animals, bunnies, and lions being like EMTs or police officers. So that was fun. We had Christmas, and we also made our own little program too, and the whole entire program. We were the first class to make our own little programs where we made Christmas cards for a nursing home called Mary Esther. There's a lot of nuns in that nursing home, and we made Christmas cards for them, and we went to visit them. We made hot chocolate for them. We gave them cookies. So that was a really fun thing to do together as a class and just talk to the elders and listen to their stories. It was really fun to see how we interact with them. So that was a good way to show how we interact with the people and just practice interacting with people in general. And now for the fun part. Yes, it has been overwhelming, bunch of homework, bunch of stuff. Now we're in the fun part of the year. Now we're going to internships. The internships are the fire department, the police department, the hospital, and the EMS department. I've been to the EMS department so far, the police department, and the hospital. And the hospital, you see all different kind of cases. We get to take their vital signs throughout the whole day. We also go to triage, so we get to see the people, ask them what they have, and then say, you're sick, go to that part. You're not sick, go to that part. We get to do an EKG on them. I saw somebody throw up right in front of me. That was gross. But it's okay. That's a part of it. In the EMS department, we went to different houses of different people, helped them with any different kind of cases. We have some really hard cases. We also have some cases where we just have to transport because somebody just doesn't want to stay in the nursing home. So We also went to the police department. I went to the police department, and in the police department, I got to wear vest, the bulletproof vest. So that was cool, and I got to stay with them. There was a gun right behind my head. That was amazing. We get to go to different calls as well, and they tell to us about how they do their job and what they do. Why did they give you a warning letter, or why did they give you an actual ticket? If you're being rude to them, they're gonna give you that ticket. Don't be rude. So it was really fun being with the different type of police officers and being in their cars, because I was personally scared of police officers in general. So that was really fun to like see how they work out and together and stuff like that. So that's fun. And I still have to wait to get to the fire department. I haven't been there yet, but I'm excited for it. My friend, one of the person in my class, she was like going up a ladder in the fire truck, so that was fun. I want to do that, so I'm looking forward to that week. And right here, we have two pictures of different things that we've done. Here we're at a mall, and we're people from different schools and different programs, how to do sprinting, CPR, and stuff like that. Here we went to Massimo Memorial Hospital, and we saw a helicopter, like a flight, the medical helicopters that were people. So we got to go inside and see how it's set up and everything. And here we're practicing in school, and kids be in the middle of like the building, and people will be walking to them in the doors. So that's fun. Here we acting out like as people getting sick. Like here also somebody's out in the eye. That's just makeup. Here as well, it's just makeup. We're just acting out, and so that actually other nurses that day, other nurses from the middle school, from the elementary school, they came and just started to practice. They keep practicing. So we're acting like some patients. I had an asthma attack, so I keep my lips moved and everything, so I acted out. And yeah, so that was fun. It has been a fun year so far, so we're looking towards more fun. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
Quick question before you run away. How many kids are in the program currently?
We have 8.
You have 8.
Yeah, we started the year with 10,
Okay.
but 2 left. Yeah.
And everyone's interested in something healthcare related?
Yes, me, I'm going to pre-med and to go to in the health field, like being a doctor and everything. One of my classmates wants to be a police officer. One of my classmates wants to be a firefighter. Another one wants to be a psychologist. 2 of them wants to be a psychologist. Another one wants to be a pilot, a medical pilot. So we each have our different interests.
That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Altagracia, is there an exam that you take?
Yes, there is an exam that we take. Actually, during the week of vacation, we're gonna be practicing in the classroom because we have our practical exam the Saturday after break. Basically, it's just doing the hands-on things and the test. And I can't take it because I'm not 18 yet, but all of my classmates will be taking that test. And there's also a written test that we also have to take, that we sign up for, that we have to take. But I also can't take it because I'm not 18 yet, but I will take it after I'm 18. So,
Once you're 18, and then you'll have a certification as
yes, I will have a certification
EMT.
and I can work in the ambulance and everything. Yes.
Great. Thank you so much for telling me, because we hear about this program a lot,
Yeah.
but to really
Yeah.
understand what it's all about is great.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Good evening, school committee. My name is Jade Onyango, and I am the Student Advisory Committee representative for the class of 2028. Tonight, I'm going to be presenting on the high school perspective of the accelerated pathway being implemented into the middle school. Before I get started, I would just like to thank Dr. Scaza and Dr. DeFalco for meeting with me and helping me create this presentation. For those who don't know, the accelerated pathway is an advanced track open to all students starting in the 6th grade all the way through 10th. The program for now is centered around math, English, and world language. 6th grade students learn on the 7th grade level, 7th on the 8th, 8th on 9th, and these 8th graders would be going to the high school to participate in these accelerated classes. The end goal of this pathway is to work to save space in students' schedules, their junior and senior years of high school, by knocking out these credits earlier. allowing students to take more APs or electives suited for their career paths, leaving students more time to find out what they want to do and discover more options without worrying about getting the credits needed for graduation. Essentially lessening the workload for students in their final years of high school, allowing for less stress as they prepare for life after graduation. Now, as a high school student, I think that this program has incredible potential. As many of us know, MHS is often looked down upon by parents and students alike. The last few years, more than ever, students have looked for ways out. Trade schools, charter schools, and often even going to private schools. My peers and I truly believe that this program will help to jumpstart our academics, boosting test scores and academic pride. When asking current students at MHS their thoughts on the program, one student stated that this sounds like a huge step forward for our school. Another student agreed, saying, "I wish I had this opportunity when I was in middle school." Additional benefits to students who commit to the program throughout high school will receive a seal of distinction when they graduate. Similar to the seal of biliteracy, the student would receive a special notification of the Honors Academy on their diploma. Overall, this accelerated pathway is going to be a great addition to our school system, and the addition of midterms and finals will also help to shape our students academically, working to build a better study culture and academic motivation. And that's all I have for tonight. And if there aren't any questions, thank you for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jade.
Good evening, school committee. My name is Sophia Nieves, and I am the freshman staff representative for the 2025 to the 2026 school year. My topic is on the use of AI within literacy and history classrooms. AI was originally introduced in education within the 70s and 80s for colleges for interactive tutors for students to experiment with and to assist them with their education journey. Eventually, as it went on, it spread to academic websites that we use today during the K-12 year, such as IXL, Quizlet, and Khan Academy. These websites were made to help students and educators alike create practice tests, study guides, lesson plans, etc. However, with this technology constantly developing, it begins to blur the barrier of it being a beneficial tool or a type of cheat code and how the user decides to use the resource. It's easy to put in information to create flashcards or practice tests, but it's easier for someone to take advantage of these resources or to take a photo of the work that they're working on to be given the answer. However, these tools are beneficial when it's used in the right way. With the use of AI in education, specifically in subjects where there's more independent learning with students or more writing, there's a right way to use it and a wrong way. I spoke to multiple educators within our school system on the topic, and specifically, Mr. Reyes and I had a conversation about how consistent use of AI in an inappropriate way could harm a student's independent performance. He described that our conversation consisted of he described the topic as he was talking about how our brain is a muscle and how similar to other muscles, if we don't exercise it, it would weaken. Similar to sports, you can't have someone else do the work for you, then you play on the field. You wouldn't be prepared for the game since you didn't put the work into it. Like a Spartan in the gym, AI should be a tool to help you lift the weight off your brain, to help you do the work for yourself and not to do the job for you. When used incorrectly, it causes the user to lack the preparedness needed for the future. Similar to a conversation I had with Mr. Ciobola, being exposed and being introduced to these topics on our own is important, and putting all our focus and relying on an AI tool to do the thinking for you would cause a lack of information on said topic. However, when AI is used in the intended way, it helps the user be the best learner they could be. Mr. Henry from our board and I met up on a video call on this topic, and we spoke about how to use this tool thoughtfully to further progress education. Henry stated AI is a useful tool for spell check and word refining, how to better phrase our thoughts into words. Our goal is to make ourselves and others be the best possible learners we can be, and this tool can be a way to help us do that if used correctly. By being able to use these resources effectively, it improves class speed and cooperation, comprehension skills, and asserts more education with an AI use, which could prove useful to future occupations and more depth within the independent learning skills. Another topic that often emerged when consulting with the educators is the concern of safe AI use and student integrity. It's about the information being put in and how it can be used. Each search in an AI, such as for example, Gemini or ChatGPT, it's saved in a type of history log. These apps can track and keep the information that you put into it, such as your name, age, location, your school, your family, etc. Information that the user may not have known had been getting logged. In a chat with Mr. Thomas, a history educator and member of the board, he shared his experience with AI and showed us an example of one of our classes. In the class, he tested the technology by putting in a search, who is Elton Thomas, and the results showed his name, social media, place of work, years he has worked, and where they found their information. Our conversation went similarly as followed. If I or another teacher suspects that AI is used in an assignment, essay, or DBQ, we're able to check history logs. We're able to tell how a student's sense of writing is based on their old assignments, so it's not difficult to detect if it is used and who, in fact, used it. This follows along the lines of another conversation with Mr. Henry, where he stated, we don't want to completely erase AI in our school system. We're trying to promote safe AI use since everything is recorded. We're having tools that will eventually branch out further for both adults and students, and the district pays for specific AI so the information put into them is safe and secure. This technology can in fact be harmful when sensitive information is put into it. Following on, each of the teachers I interviewed have claimed that they have caught students using AI before. Whether it's essays, schoolwork, or creative writings, each teacher had a story. This point arises a concern with plagiarism, disregarding AI as a resource and more as a quick fix to a problem instead. However, when people are taught how to use the AI in a way that allows them to think for themselves, while not heavily relying on it to do all the work for them, it's a really good resource. I'm currently aware of how this is still being discussed within school policy and how new rules are coming out for these new technologies daily. How rules need to be established for everyone affected, students and educators alike. But overall, with these new technologies, there will often be pros and cons to every situation. However, these technologies can open new experiences and perspectives in writing, helping to enhance an individual's comprehension of readings and discover new ways to better understand new topics to further their journey of education. This may raise the concerns of many, however. The over-reliance of these tools could cause a lack of comprehension skills if used incorrectly, cause a lack of creativity, and cause alarm with data privacy concerns. But when used correctly and we embrace AI the way it's made to be embraced, we can acknowledge the potential it holds to help advance our school community. And that's it.
Thank you.
So yes, I will acknowledge that is on our plan for policy. We've already had a couple rounds of discussions and we'll have a lot more coming. I think some of the points that you made are things that we've discussed, that we can't really bury our heads and ignore AI. We need to actually embrace it and make sure that we're understanding how to utilize it as a resource, not taking over for the human being either. So thank you for your points. And definitely it's something which we're all having those discussions so that we can try and approach it as best as possible, acknowledging that it's probably going to keep on changing and we're going to have to change with it too. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sophia.
Hi, good evening, school committee. My name is Maggie Morrissey, and I am the junior SAC representative. Tonight, I'm going to present on the struggles that many students are facing throughout the high school math curriculum. When I was asking my peers what I should present on, the issues that they most often brought up was their struggles with their Algebra 2 courses. Out of my peers taking Algebra 2, there were two main camps of issue. My friends in Honors Algebra 2 and Honors Algebra 2 Pre-Calc described struggling immensely in their classes. My friends described being extremely confused by the material in class, struggling greatly on classwork and homework assignments, and consistently scoring poorly on quizzes and tests, even though they put a lot of effort into studying and seeking extra help. I spoke to a lot of my peers who had excelled and had A+ or A averages in both Honors Algebra 2 and Honors Geometry, and are now struggling in Honors Algebra 2 with C's, D's, or even failing grades. On the other hand, I spoke to some of my peers who are currently taking CP Algebra 2, and they presented another issue. They described feeling extremely unfulfilled with their class. Many of my peers expressed that they found the CP class to be too easy for them, with some of my friends stating that the work they were doing felt easier than the others before. But that brings me to another issue that my peers are facing. My peers who are feeling unfulfilled in CP Algebra 2 are not moving up to Honors Algebra 2 because Honors is extremely challenging and conceptual for them. This entails one of the biggest challenges, which is the gap in curriculum. Rigor and expectations between college prep and honors is extremely large. The honors curriculum is set for very advanced students, being taught at a fast pace where students are expected to work through challenging problems and build their critical thinking, abstract thinking skills. On the other hand, college prep curriculum is very basic, having to apply to a wide array of students. So there are many students who need a more middle ground class but are falling through the cracks. Not a very advanced class for students on a STEM track, but still fulfilling, and that still challenges them. I believe that the new accelerated curriculum, like Jade mentioned, it will be very beneficial to students with this as they transition from geometry to algebra 2. I think it will help students be more prepared for honors classes without having the mixed honors CP for algebra 1 and geometry. I also think it will help students be more prepared by having more access to rigorous and abstract curriculum earlier in their careers, in their math. Yeah, but I do think there are still going to be other issues to address. I think that there needs to be work done to the Algebra 1 geometry curriculum to better prepare honors students for the nature of the Algebra 2 class, so all Algebra 2 students aren't blindsided like they were for my grade. I also believe that college prep classes need to be made more fulfilling for students, so students aren't forced into a very basic class just because they don't want to be on the very advanced track. I think making the gap smaller between the honors and college prep will be very beneficial for both groups of students and help the rigor culture at Marlboro High. Thank you so much, and I'd love to take any questions.
Thank you.
Quick question, and thank you. Really insightful, and I guess I'm going to also say a little concerning about trying to figure out how to get that gap because, with you being in 11th grade, I want to make sure that you're ready to get what you need right now and to move forward appropriately. So I guess my question is, you were talking about people needing to reach out for additional help. Do we need to figure out about other additional help to try and get people on track?
I know there is a good amount of access to additional help. I know 3 days a week in the library, there is math teachers there that can help. And I know a lot of math teachers are willing to stay after school. And I know a lot of people in my grade have study periods so they can go and get extra help from teachers. So I don't know if it's about that. I just think that the curriculum, I think it's just that, my grade, I think the students aren't prepared enough. Because for us, our Algebra 1 geometry, honors was very procedural, very basic, and then we got to this class and I kind of got blindsided.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that it sounds like there's just more to try and figure out about how to get you there, right? Because you've got more time to go and we want you to continue on further. I don't know. It sounds like trying to figure out where to support where that miss is to try and get you that additional help as opposed to you guys struggling. So thank you.
Anyone else? Okay,
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Maggie.
thank you. Thank you all to the Student Advisory Committee for being here and giving that update. We will move on to Portrait of a Learner Strategic Planning Updates.
How do I follow that? I think the last time I had to follow the amazing students. So my name is Carrie Purcell. The last time I joined you, I was somewhere on this screen, if you remember. So it's a delight to be in person with you this evening to give you an update on where we're at with the Portrait of a Learner and the strategic planning process. So I'm going to do a little bit of teaching about what's happened since I was in this space, sort of teaching the idea to you, and then talk to you about our next steps, and then I'd love to engage and entertain any questions that you might have. So if we could go to the next slide, we'll go ahead and get started with just a reminder about what we mean when we say Portrait of a Learner and strategic plan. So we've been living in the land of Portrait of a Learner right now, and that is to begin to define what we want for all Marlboro students to know and be able to do from pre-K through grade 12 and beyond. So it's sort of the definition of what we want for Marlboro learners to set them up for success. So we're in the middle of that process right now, but we're about ready to shift to the right side of this slide where we're thinking about if this is what we want for students, what is our role as leaders of learning, both in the schools, at the district level, the community, and beyond, to support those students in order to make that happen. So we are going to begin the conversation soon around what are the actions that we as leaders are going to take in terms of teaching and learning, in terms of aligning resources, in terms of using data, et cetera, to make sure that we live up to our promise as is defined in the Portrait of a Learner. So I want to teach you just a little bit and talk to you a little bit about what we've been doing to get to this point. So Jody, if you would take us to the other slide, or the next slide, that would be great. So I tried to break down the process into 3 parts. Part 1 was about listening, and listening some more. So we gathered lots of information through one-on-one school committee conversations, through small group listening sessions, through surveys, through meeting with students, thanks to Atul and his peer who helped us organize that. That was our favorite session, by the way. We want to meet with those students again and again and again and again because what they had to share was so insightful and so powerful and so impactful to this conversation. So we did all of that listening. We did all of that learning. We listened clearly to just understand what is it that Marlboro is doing well that we want to keep, what quarter turns do we need to make the opportunities, the learning opportunities better for our students, and what new things might we want to entertain. So that took us a good little while. We were looking at data as well in this whole process. So then we had to take all of that information and synthesize that. And we have done that with the help of a steering committee, and with the help of meeting with principals, our great principals, and with the help of a group called, and I don't want to get this wrong, the Marlboro Leadership Team that meets for dinner and does some really sort of amazing work. So we've had 2 opportunities to meet with that group that is comprised of district leadership, school leadership, teacher leaders. So it's a big, robust group of about 80 individuals who have given us some feedback and some insight that has helped us to take all of that information and synthesize it so that we have developed a draft of the student competencies that we want for all students in Marlboro. So we're going to unveil that to you tonight on the next slide. Oh, no, we're not. Before we do that, I wanted to summarize, sorry. Before we do that, I want to just summarize sort of what we learned. That's really important, isn't it? So in all of these conversations, in these small groups, in the Google Forms, the surveys, etc., we learned that in Marlboro, we are committed to making sure that our students are prepared for life beyond graduation. That was important to all stakeholder groups and all the conversations that we had. We also learned that we believe that when we graduate students and that when we're working with them from pre-K to grade 12, that communication and collaboration are really important in our society today and in the future, that students really need to know how to collaborate together and communicate with one another in a meaningful fashion. We also learned that in the big scheme of things, the one thing that is really important is that we grow students who are able to think critically and problem solve with support as well as independently so that they can use those skills as they graduate and move on into whatever they want to pursue in life. We also learned this idea that we want to equip and empower our students to be leaders of their own learning by instilling in them this sense of ownership. And that begins early on by having them be able to make choices and then moving up to the grades, really to have them grapple with really complex things and be able to learn in their own way. And we also, it was very clear that we wanted our students to be very adaptable with all of the changes that come their way, both as a learner and as an adult. Last but not least, and this was talked about so much, was this idea of the human that we're trying to sort of help move along in their journey. And that in all of these conversations, that this idea of character, integrity, and responsibility really mattered to Marlboro. And really, we think it's so important to work with our students on and help them to grow in these areas. And so then, after all of those big ideas, I would officially like to unveil the 4 sort of student competency buckets that will begin to define our portrait of a learner. So number 1, we have committed to helping our students become independent and adaptable beginning at pre-K. Number 2, the second sort of competency or bucket is that we want our students to be connected and collaborative. Number 3, we're hoping to continue to build capacity in our students to be critical and creative thinkers. And last but not least, the final competency or bucket for our students that will be part of the portrait of a learner is to help them become more engaged and more responsible. So this is sort of our shared vision, our promise for what we want for every Marlboro student, beginning from pre-K all the way through their opportunity to be a part of this community. So as I said, well, that's not enough. We've worked in a lot of places, and if we stop here, it just becomes wallpaper on the wall, because we don't have sort of a plan to support it. So while we haven't really started the strategic plan work yet, we can predict, if we go to the next slide, some of the work that really actually is already happening, just not in a strategic plan form, and that will continue to happen. So as we think about this portrait of a learner, now we have to turn the mirror on ourselves. And what does this mean for instruction? And what does this mean for learning? And how do we continue to create rich opportunities for our students to get exactly what they need when they need it so they can continue to grow and achieve? So that's one area that the strategic plan will address. Number 2, how do we continue to nurture the student experience and their opportunity to engage in so many amazing things that these high school students were talking about, and even starting at the earliest grades? How do we give them opportunity to be curious and create pathways for them to lean into various kinds of learning opportunities? So that'll be another piece. One of my favorite pieces is how do we continue to work smarter, not harder, for the students that we serve, by really thinking about our systems and our structures and how we continue to align that to the North Star, which is the portrait of a learner. And last but not least, how are we going to inspect what we expect? So how are we going to create within our strategic plan an opportunity to measure, is this working? Is it not working? And what are we going to do about both? So those are some of the pieces and parts that we're going to begin having conversations with the steering committee around, with the MPS leadership team, with principals. We're going to relaunch some listening sessions and some stakeholder sessions where we're going to be seeking some additional feedback around these areas. But that, in a nutshell, is sort of where we're at in this process right now. And if you'll take us to, I think, what's next, that is what we have to do next before we come in front of you again at the end of June, is we have a couple of deliverables. We have to finish refining the portrait of a learner, and we have to call it our final. Then we have to take that information and craft and develop a strategic plan that can be launched beginning July 1. So those are our next steps. Those are the tasks that we have to complete between now and the next time we see you. And we do all of this sort of in closing before we open this up for questions, because myself and everybody on my team and all of the people that we are really fortunate enough to work with in Marlboro truly believe this last slide, that this work is truly about serving every student, every class, in every classroom, every day, no exceptions. And the portrait of a learner, we think, will be sort of that North Star that will help connect all the amazing work that's happening in classrooms. And it will connect it every day because every student in Marlboro matters. And this will be an opportunity to lift up and elevate the amazing work that you're already doing, further connect those dots, and then turn that portrait of learner then into a plan that will help your students and our students grow and achieve. So I thank you for your time. I know I'm one of many things on the agenda tonight, so I'm going to pause and open it up for any questions you might have. So I'll just pause.
You're good? Questions? Chris?
Yes, sir.
I am so excited that we collectively have made this investment in time and resources. My question is, help me with how to think about the 4 quadrants that you described. Those seem like outcomes to me. So if we're successful, we will achieve these things. I don't perceive it to be a curriculum overlay, right? So we'll build the curriculum to achieve these outcomes. How does this plan interplay with the curriculum design?
Do you want me to take it? Sure. Awesome. So one of the things that's going to happen, that's a really great question. One of the things that's going to happen next, once we finalize the portrait of a learner, is we will begin to define what good work looks like and what student attributes need to exist starting in grade 12, because we want the end in mind first, and then rolling it all the way back to pre-K. So there will be a common aligned set of expectations, so to speak, for our students as they relate to each of those buckets. And then I'm going to tag team it because I don't want to misrepresent the great curriculum work that's happening as well.
Yeah, thanks, Carrie. So a couple of things. Question's actually really timely. We are in the middle of visiting and meeting with all of our adjustment counselors across the school system and meeting with them kind of school-based. And one of the things that keeps coming up, one of the issues that keeps coming up is this idea of, are we doing enough around helping our school community, and each school is a little bit different, but really understand our norms and values, right? So like a school functions as an ecosystem. There's a lot of things that are happening within that ecosystem. And are we doing a good enough job of being really clear about supporting our students, our colleagues around what we value most? And so as recent as today, we were discussing these 4 different domains with one of our schools and the adjustment counselors in that school, and talking a bit about how we would take those 4 domains and develop those into actually something we can explicitly teach at each grade span with a rubric that clearly defines, here's what these skills look like for preschool, for first grade, et cetera, all the way through. And then talked a little bit about the importance of onboarding both staff and students, so that when they start in Marlboro, they really understand what we value, what's important to us, and they understand the community in which they are stepping into. We had a lot of discussion around this idea of teaching really kind of the technical side of the work, procedures and rules and those things. And it's not that those are not important, because they are, but what do we actually value? And are we doing enough work in that space so that when you're part of our community, you know the way in which we lead and, you know, the important things in which we measure. And so we're looking at how do we systematize that.
Makes sense. Just to play it back, and I'm looking at a couple of these slides, competency stands out to me. I'm out of my depth here, so just humor me. It's almost as if there are 3 axes: the technical piece of the academics, the skills around literacy, for example. The second axis around social, emotional, which I would categorize as behavioral expectations. This third Z axis is either competencies or sort of cultures, and a full portrait of the learner, a successful person, we think represents across all those 3 in a high order way.
And what I would actually add to that is it's sort of a yes and so these
Thank you.
domains sort of bridge both of those spectrums.
Yeah.
So they live in some of the instructional and learning work. They also live in some of the social emotional behavior work. In the steering committee meeting that we just had, we were having some conversation around this idea of emotional intelligence and where this work actually fits to kind of bridge the emotional, like your EQ with your actual IQ, right? In the teaching and learning side of it.
Yeah. Certainly a lot more to come. I'm excited to be part of the larger discussion around maintaining visibility to progress
Yes.
across these. So thank you. Great job.
Thank you for that question. Other questions?
Very good. Anything else?
Not really a question, but what pops out to me, and I know on the A-bar work that we've been doing, this has come up a lot, is the whole concept of students developing an ownership for their own learning. And I think that skill is something that needs to be taught at a young age. So to focus on how are you, it fosters independence as a human being, but also taking that ownership. And I'm thinking about, Maggie, what you said about the students and, the gap in, how if your peers knew at third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade that maybe things were starting to be a little bit different, difficult for them, if they had true ownership of their learning and the words to say, maybe I'm not getting this, or how can you explain this to me in a different way that I can grasp it? Having that skill set to be able to advocate for oneself in a learning environment is something that is, I think, critical in this day and age.
Yes.
Because you can't really think critically if you aren't clear on what your role is in that journey. And so this is really exciting to be able to help define what our expectations are and then figure out how we're going to be able to give that to students. So
Yes. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Other questions or comments?
Anything else? Seeing none? Thank you, Carrie. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I will see you with an update come June. So thank you again.
All righty. The next thing on the agenda is the school building project update. So we'll have Jess and Christine come on up to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Christopher Lee from Laurent Pagano Associates Architects, and with me is Christine Basilmans, project architect. We're happy to be here again. Thank you for inviting us to give you an update on the schematic design progression of the Richer Elementary School. What you're seeing is a little flyover of a virtual model that we've been developing of the building, and we'll go into details of that. So we formatted our agenda into 4 basic parts. We're going to look at the schedule really quick. We're going to define the goals that we were set out to achieve over the last 7 months. We'll spend some time mostly in part 3, the design update, and we'll also hit on what's the next steps after today. As far as schedule's concerned, we're about a year into design, and we're still early. Schematic design is really coming out of 2 parts before us, where we look at where the building's going to be and what's the scope, what's the building about. And so it was determined in the previous phases that it's going to remain on the Richer Elementary School property, and that's going to be 950 student enrollment, K to 5. So the 3 parts that we're focusing on were developing the scope coming out of the idea that we're going to be building on site, establish a more refined budget, and also the construction schedule. This image may be familiar to some of you. This is a site plan of the previous phase, the preferred schematic report, where the only buildable area is the fields to the south of the building. You can see the existing building dashed in gray there. This is common to build next to or behind existing schools. And this is considered phased occupied construction, where the existing school will be in operation while the new building is being erected. And so in this final configuration, the new recessed areas, playfield areas, will be put in after the existing school is demolished. And so we get a lot of questions about what's life going to be like while the school is being built. And so strategically, we're going to divide the site into two parts. We're going to fence off what's considered the construction area, or zone 2. We also have to make improvements so that the school can operate fully and functionally. So in zone 1, you can see the red arrows off of Foley Road that will need to establish a new bus route, because currently they come in through Ripley Avenue, and that's not going to be available to them once construction starts. We're also looking to use funds wisely. So in the final configuration, we're going to be needing to add more parking, but in the interim, we're going to build into the hill. You can see that green squiggly line. That's going to be parking in the long run, but in between, we're going to use that as temporary play area. It's going to be developed so that kids have some place to have recess and some PE exercise opportunities. We also took a closer look at parking. There's big concern about parking because it is a tight site. We've advanced parking counts, and we're endeavoring to get enough parking, again, so that the school can remain in full operation. Teachers can arrive at the school, park, have some capacity for visitors as well. And any contractors will have to find different provisions, but they won't be allowed to park adjacent to the school. In this next plan, we're seeing the final configuration from our landscape architect. There are different zones, 4 in particular, that have either a flex field in green, and yellow is a hardscape play that'll have a basketball court, a half basketball court. And then 2 blue circles are age-appropriate play zones and play structures. What you're seeing in kind of that magenta color are the drop-off zones. What you're seeing in orange is an opportunity to have an outdoor classroom. So here's a slide where we dive into the circulation for buses and parents. We're going to maintain that the buses come in through Foley Road. One question came up: how do we dismiss a little quicker? So instead of just having all the buses up front, we activated the back of the building so that we split the buses to expedite dismissal. The site's going to be flexible so that buses, the bus route could change over time, but this is the current thinking, that we can dismiss a little quicker if 5 buses show up in the back and about 6 buses show up in the front, because we're talking, again, 950 students. In the blue pattern, coming up Ripley and around the play area, is what we anticipate bringing a significant queue capacity for parents to arrive on site using the Ripley Avenue access point. And so we anticipate about 70 cars needed for that, and this queue can accommodate about 64, so that's hitting the majority of the capacity we need and limiting kind of the overrun into the neighborhood. So again, here's a little flyover. We're coming over the recess area, the 2 loops. You can see the buses at the bottom of the page. Parents would be routed behind the building and around the recess area. The building is primarily masonry, limiting kind of like exotic materials. We've practiced restraint according to the goals of the city, keeping this a straightforward building project. The scale, we couldn't be more pleased with given the parameters and the site. We're building into the hill. And so upon arrival, it's only a 2-story building. And as the building slopes down, the site slopes, the building kind of reveals its full 3-story nature. Now I'm going to hand it over to Christina to bring you through the inside of the building.
Couple more exterior photos for you that just kind of march around the building. So this is the front entrance where you can see we have a prominent sort of canopy that identifies the location of the main entrance. You can see in the front we have the bus loop, and in the farther distance we have the parent pickup and drop off. Here's a view from the opposite side of that canopy, just kind of showing you that because we're building into the hill, we have a more reasonable and approachable 2-story massing at the entrance. And as you go down the hill, we start to see that the building actually is 3 stories and built into the topography. Here's a view of the back area where we do have 3 stories and access to the roof and the loading dock, and a little bit of sun shading because it is the southern side of the building. And last but not least, the final corner, looking back up to the front of the building here. Really quickly, I have a couple of small housekeeping items. So what you saw in the PSR in terms of our space summary template is on the left side in blue. And what we're submitting in the schematic design is in the orange in the orange column. Due to our extensive number of programming meetings and room data sheet meetings, we were able to refine the program for the educational space summary template. And we had a couple of changes. So a little bit of an increase in the core academic, a little bit of a decrease in special education, increase in medical and admin and guidance, leading us to a slightly larger gross building. So we just wanted to let you know, it goes from 159,842 up to 161,800. And here are the floor plans. I know they're a little bit hard to see on the screen because they're a little small, but I want to just kind of go over the basic gist of it. So there are 3 stories in total, and what you're seeing on the screen now is the lowest floor. Now, what's kind of different from the PSR is that we still have this central atrium with a ramp, with a celebratory ramp that celebrates universal access, kind of in the center, outlined in the blue. But what's kind of different from PSR is now we have the cafeteria and the stage on this level. So this is what's shown in the purple square. Also on this floor, we have music spaces and other support spaces for the 5th grade neighborhood, which is shown kind of on the bottom right, taking that corner. And we had to move those a little bit to get daylight and views in all of those spaces. This is the next level, which is the main level. So you can see the outline of the canopy and the arrow that's pointing in, the red arrow that's pointing in at the main entrance. Here we have, on the left side, our administrative and guidance, our administrative aid areas, and on the right side, our nurses suite and our SPED connections spaces. And on this level, we have the gymnasium and our smallest learners, the kindergarten and the 1st grade neighborhoods. We can see here that this central ramp atrium also plays a prominent part in this floor as it goes into the next floor too. So this ramp area connects all 3 stories. Here's our top floor, and we have here in the pink sort of rectangle, we have our media center. So this is now on the upper level. We also have our art classrooms and a couple of our STE spaces here, so our innovation lab. And we have the neighborhoods for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade. And so that sort of summarizes the floor plans. This is a diagram that tries to break that down a little bit to kind of show you that there's one core space on each level. So you can see here in the middle, the purple is the cafeteria, that's on the lower level. The green is the gymnasium on the main level. And then above the cafeteria, the red box, that's our media center. And you can see with the diagram that's a little bit down to the left that we have our classrooms ringing around those core spaces in that blue diagram there, so that every classroom can have daylight and views. So that's the basic organization of the building. That hasn't changed too much. Here I get to share with you the fun stuff. So here's a couple of renderings that show our just initial thoughts on some of those interior spaces and how they might be able to be represented in the final project.
This is the first space that you walk into right after you come through the vestibule. This is like the first lobby. And as you can see here, we have an opportunity for a monumental stair that connects right up to the media center. And this concept here for a mural that really can celebrate the richer school culture. This next view is in that same space, but it's taking a look at these fun little portals that actually are going to be able to provide a little space for a student to sit and read and actually look into the atrium space, which we think is going to be really fun and whimsical. In this next view, I believe, we're going to be walking through that door, and now we're in the atrium space. So this is truly the heart of the school. This is a space that is 3 stories tall with a large skylight above it, and that is going to bring daylight all the way down to that first level to those interior spaces that are abutting it. The concept here is that we're using earth tones and natural sort of colors and materials to really help this shine as like almost like you're in a forest or a tree or there are trees around you. And you can see here to the right, we have the media center, and to the left, we have our monumental ramp. Here's another view from a little bit further down the way on the ramp, looking up into the media center. Here's a view that's right in the media center. As you can see here, we've taken a lot of time to figure out how we can get daylight into all these interior spaces. And this is one of the methods that you're seeing here on the screen. We have a clear story pop-up in the media center to allow for daylight to come in through those windows that you see at the top of the page. We also have some daylighting opportunities as we have windows that go into the atrium. This is a space that we think is going to be really great to be able to bring back the media center and to be able to bring multiple classes here to collaborate. So that's the space you're kind of seeing in the center. Here's one more view of those little portals that look out onto the atrium. Here's a quick view of the gymnasium. Again, kind of taking a little look at the playful acoustic panels and the natural tones, a little bit more blue in this area. We have a divider curtain that will divide the space into 2 teaching stations, and we have provisions for a horizontal sort of climbing rock wall. And here's our cafeteria. As you can see here, we have daylight coming in from the atrium on the left side, and we have our quiet cafe on the right side where there's more daylight coming in through that borrowed light. And here, what we really see is an opportunity to bring in some of those really nice wood tones to kind of reference back to the existing richer cafeteria, which is so, it's so beautiful, and it's beautiful wooden ceiling. So we think that there's another opportunity to create this, even though it's interior, this really warm and welcoming cafeteria for students. Here's a view of an art room, which once again is one of those interior spaces that we are illuminating through the use of skylights and borrowed lights. So the circle that you see above is a skylight, and the borrowed lights that you see on the upper left, those are borrowing light from the media center. You can see here we're continuing this notion of keeping these earth tones and these natural sort of motifs in the classrooms. Here's a rendering of a kindergarten classroom, which is obviously a bit bigger than your existing classrooms and has adjacent toilet rooms, which is really exciting. You can see here that between this classroom and the next classroom, we're looking at this concept of having color-assisted wayfinding, so that maybe all the colors on the first floor are a certain color, so that it helps the students kind of find their way through the school. And I think that sums up the fun part of the renderings. And I think you wanted to talk about next steps, Chris?
Great, thanks, Christina. So this really concludes the summary of our schematic design phase. And so we'll be submitting to the MSBA, the Massachusetts School Building Authority, at the end of the month, where they're going to take some time to review and comment on the progression so far, provide comments to Marlborough. And there's a series of votes and approvals that will take place in the next several months to consider and push this project forward. So that concludes our presentation.
And I'm sure there'll be lots of questions. So yes, Catherine.
Sorry, definitely. Thank you. It's an incredible presentation, so very exciting. Couple questions though, relative to the playground, equipment wise, are we looking to try and have some kind of equipment for the kids on that temporary, or is it really just going to be more space at that point? Don't know. Maybe.
Right.
We started to allocate the space. What exactly is going to populate the temporary playground area is a little TBD right now. So
Okay.
Right.
And just special education, I just want to make sure that we're keeping that involved, that we need to have something to make sure that those children have something specific to their needs, even if it's within that temporary space. Parking in the neighborhood, I guess I'm thinking about Jarek and what we had to do on changing kind of the configuration of cars and stopping and the whole thing. And I guess I just kind of put it out there. I'm sure you guys have had that conversation, but I would kick myself for not mentioning it because I know the neighborhood is gonna have concerns and we need to make sure we're addressing it up front as best as possible. And then my other question is music. Because there really isn't a space currently that we're really highlighting to have for music. I know that currently we don't have something specific, but we're talking about fifth grade, doing more. So I bring that up because I don't want us to create this incredible space and not have thought about where we want to put it. There is? Okay, because I didn't hear it mentioned.
I'm sorry if I missed it.
Okay, sorry.
A little hard to see.
I can't see it.
In the dark blue,
Yeah.
around the kind of perimeter of the atrium, are 3 music classrooms,
Beautiful.
and they're in close proximity to the stage.
Sorry, I can't see that far.
Oh, it's very small.
We didn't get this slide deck, so can we get it? It wasn't in our packet. I just got to peek on the mayor's.
Yeah,
so.
that would be fantastic because I was like, okay, I'm not hearing it. So thank you. That's awesome. That's my question. There you go.
Anything else?
No,
Questions?
thank you for the presentation. Yeah, I would appreciate the deck afterwards.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Right.
yeah, thank you.
Okay. So no further questions regarding this. That we will have to vote
Okay, so
on this. So
do we need to?
if you want to suspend the rules,
Yeah,
to move
I'd
it
like
up,
to
we can.
suspend the rules. Like to suspend the rules.
Okay. Motion on the table to suspend the rules. All in favor? 1, 2, 3. Yes. Okay.
So I'd like to move up item 9E, schematic design for the new Richer School project.
Okay. Motion on the table to move up 9E to take the vote now. Any questions, comments, concerns? It's been seconded. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay. So
To go down
on
to-
9E, need a motion.
Yes, I'm trying to get to it.
No, we just need specific wording for
There's
MSBA,
specific
so that's why we need to make sure that for the minutes, we just want to make sure everything is done correctly. So there's specific wording. So it is in your packet on 9E.
Found it. Okay, so the motion is that the school committee endorse the school building committee's recommended schematic design of the new Richer Elementary School project.
Correct. That's good for you guys, correct? Okay. That is a motion on the table and seconded. Is there any other further comments, questions, concerns regarding the schematic design endorsement by the school committee, building committee? Seeing none. Let's do a roll call vote just for the minutes, just so we can make sure MSBA is happy. So we'll do a roll call vote, starting with Mr. Geary.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay, motion carries. It is passed. You're free to go. Thank you very much. All righty. Great work.
Piggybacking on the suspension, I'd also like to move up item 9D, Robotics World 2026 trip. So our students can go home if they'd like to
Okay.
and not wait till the end of the meeting.
Motion on the table to suspend the rules. Is there any questions, comments regarding the suspension? Just to suspend.
No.
Yep, just suspend. All in favor? Motion carries. I need a motion to move it up.
Oh, sorry. Now to move up item 9D, Robotics World 2026 trip.
Motion on the table and second to move up 9D robotics world trip. Questions, comments, concerns? Catherine, yes.
The only quick thing I would say is I think there were just a few things on the, I don't know, the listing of the days and dates and times that were needed to be updated a bit. There were some
Right, so
AMs.
we're just going to vote to move it up, and then if you have
Oh,
questions
I
on it, then
apologize.
nope, okay, okay.
Okay, never mind.
So
I'll hold.
all in favor of moving it up so we can actually vote on it? Motion carries. Okay, so now we'll do a motion to approve the robotics, and that's when you can ask those questions. Is there going to be a little presentation or?
To speak?
All right. If you want to go to the
Thank you.
podium, that would be great.
All
Thank you.
right.
Thank you for coming. I know that you're kind of a pinch hitter tonight, so I appreciate you.
No worries. I was able to get prepared relatively quickly. It's been chaos, but I am very ready.
Okay.
All right. So I'm happy to announce that for the second year in a row, one of our robotics team from the Robotics Club has qualified for the VEX World Championship in St. Louis this year. We'll be traveling over April break. We'll leave on the 20th and we'll return on the 25th. Our flight on the 20th is like 8:40ish, and then we'll be returning kind of like end of day, leaving at like 5 on that Saturday and arriving back at around 9 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing I noted that there were a few places and it's nothing major. It was just AMs and PMs on a couple things throughout the schedule. Again, like little minor things.
Okay.
And I hear correctly that you're going to be traveling since Mrs. Mahoney's not going to be able to be there. So which is lovely. And thank you that you can go ahead and hop in there. So there's going to be a female and a male chaperone, which I think is great. So,
And your folks will be there as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
my dad will at least be going. We need a photographer, so
He told me today that your mother's coming too for part of it.
yeah, for like a day.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Moving on. Any other questions?
No,
So
thank you.
there is a motion on the table.
So, no motion, we just moved it. So
Okay.
I moved to approve the
Okay.
trip.
Motion on the table and seconded. Any other further questions? Good.
Would you like to see the robot?
Oh.
Why don't we vote and then we can watch the robot? Yeah, let's do the work and then we can play. Yeah. All right. All in favor of sending the robotics team to win first
St.
place
Louis.
to St. Louis? Yeah. All in favor? Motion carries. All right. Now let's have some fun, shall we?
I'm happy with your faith in us. All right.
I'm
We
very
brought our
hopeful.
robot today. This is the result of like a 2-week rebuild. We decided to rebuild when we found out where we were going. And we've recently got it pretty much fully functional thanks to the long hours put in by the team, including Atul and the 2 students with us today, Maggie and Anderson, and the one that's currently not here, Edgar. By the way, the robot's name is Jeff,
Yeah.
so you know.
Oh,
What
did the other robot have a name?
Yeah, last year was Shelly.
Okay.
Oh, I don't think I knew that. Okay.
JEFF or GEOFF?
GEPA?
You win. I too often and I failed both.
The joke is we always have an unofficially official name,
Got
and it's always pretty random. So I guess they came up with it. So while they're getting that ready, I can briefly explain the goal of the game. So every year we get a new game where it's a 2v2 match between you and a random partner and 2 random opponents. And this year's game, you have to take these blocks. If Anderson wants to, you want to pick one up? Yeah, these blocks, which are blue and red, and you have to put them in this really long goal, which we sadly couldn't bring. And based off what color's in the middle, teams get a bonus points, and how many balls you scored, you also get bonus points. There's small other various tasks, like robot has to pick up the balls from a certain match loader, where humans get to drop the balls in, as well as autonomous portions, where the robot has to do autonomous tasks, which are all the same as the driver tasks, but fully autonomous. So, want to put it on? We can show everyone. So yeah, we get to pick up here. We can pick up balls. You want me to drive?
Can you put the balls in the middle of the room so that
Everyone is
we can see them, but also the camera can see it too? Aha.
They do roll. That is,
So this is the robot that you actually are taking down.
yes.
So do you check it in the airplane? Like, how does that work?
We're gonna put it
Does
in
he
a
have-
big box.
Yeah.
And we're gonna
Right.
check it as our luggage.
Okay.
Okay, and just hope for the
It doesn't
best.
fall out at any point.
Haven't had any experience yet. It's a lot of foam, a lot of cutting of foam, which is fun. And
Well, I mean, I've seen how luggage is being thrown around. I mean, that's
Yeah.
concerning.
Yeah, we're gonna tie it shut.
So here's what we got. It drives around, which is pretty cool. But we can also pick up blocks. So we can hold them in this little container. Yeah. So these are just 6 balls. We can hold up to 8, and of a certain color. And if you want to chuck the box in the middle, we get to score them. This is our temporary goal. I told you we couldn't run the long goal, but we get to shoot them out. So
Oh, wow.
pretty cool. So yeah, there's a couple other tasks. So we can actually de-score the other team's blocks by doing this. So we can push them down and we can shoot all the balls out of the top of the goal. So we can put our color in, which is pretty cool. And to get the balls out of like the human station, we can drop this down, which drops all the balls and it just sucks them all in. So yeah, there's a bunch of other smaller stuff, but it's been a long 2 weeks. When we realized that, oh yeah, we made worlds. We're like, okay, might as well make it most of it. So
Right.
So do you steal the other team's balls?
yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff that we can do strategy-wise. There are a lot of de-scoring parts where you get to put your ball. The goal is really long. It's like 4 feet. But you can put just 3 balls and just hold the middle. So then when they put, you can put back, and then I keep shooting them out, and it's a back and forth of like ping pong basically. So yeah, a lot of other cool stuff.
Do you know when you're actually going to be competing, like time?
Yeah, we're going to be competing for 4 days. It's going to be the 21st to the 24th.
Right.
And
But like a specific, like, because like, is this televised? Can people watch it?
Yes. So if you look up Vex Worlds, they have a website, and there's a portion on that website that says Vex TV. They're going to be streaming it from that link, and they'll be streaming the various divisions individually. We're in the math division, so you can keep an eye on that one, and should be able to see us. Our actual matches will usually, on the first day, they'll be after 12, but every day after that, they'll essentially be all day.
And can you spell that again? You said Vex?
VEX.
VEX.
I just want, okay.
Yeah.
So you might know what time you're going the first day, but then depending on how you do, that will determine when you go the subsequent days?
No, we're gonna get our
or-
schedule once everyone is registered and they like make sure all the teams are actually there.
Right.
Then they'll generate the match schedule, and just in case anyone drops in the meantime, they can't generate it too early.
Right.
So we're not gonna know exactly when we play until we're there.
Will they post the actual divisions and what times online? Or-
Yeah, there's an app for that.
Okay.
It's called Vex Via. You can check like the event. It's if you search on that for Vex Worlds, and then you can break it down by division. You can look at the math division specifically, and it will show you like a big list of matches, and then you can click into a specific team number, and it will show you that team's matches.
Or
And
could you guys tell us once you get it? So
Yeah.
we're like, that's great.
Chris, we are 43440X if you desire to find us.
4344
0X.
X.
Yes.
Gotcha. Awesome.
It's a 0, not an O?
0.
Yeah, you're not an ox? Okay. Okay.
Great.
Wow. Well, okay.
Awesome.
Well, thank
good
you
luck.
for the show and
And
tell.
this will be your
good luck
first
and-
trip, right? So good luck. Exciting.
Exciting,
Have fun.
Tool's old hat at this.
right? Been there, done that,
I
right?
guess so.
So-
It's my 7th year doing this. So
Seventh.
it's really great opportunity. Got to meet with so many cool people, worked with so many of my great friends, and yeah, get to build some pretty cool stuff among many other. So.
Over the 7 years, I'm sure you've talked to other students. Like, do you stay in touch with them throughout?
Oh yeah, totally. Andy
That's so
graduated
cool.
last year. Mr.
Yeah.
MIT. So
Who's at MIT?
Right.
right, doing cool robotic stuff as well, right? So get to meet so many people. I know one kid at Harvard who does some fun stuff. You get to see like, oh, what like robotics projects other people are doing, and not just robotics, other stuff too. So yeah,
Sure. Wow. Well, that's incredible. Like, so we wish you all the luck.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Can't wait
yeah.
to hear all about it.
Have fun. All right. Thank you. Okay.
All right, so we did that one, and we did that one. So
Anything
now
else?
we are back
We are
to superintendent's report.
going back to the scheduled
Back.
program of the superintendent's reports.
Well,
Here we go. Top that.
I don't know how I'm going to
Top
talk
that.
any
You
of this.
can't. You can't.
Just for the record, incredible evening tonight, and just want to thank everybody for being here, all of our different groups and presentations, and anybody tuning in at home. Certainly, I think would get the sense that Marlborough is on the move. Many incredible things happening. So we're going to keep some of this celebrating, the progress that's being made across the system. I want to start. I know we've talked about this a little bit in prior meetings, but to share a little bit about the Worcester County Superintendent Scholar Award. This is an annual award that is given to two students at Marlborough High School. And I did kind of foreshadow this at our one of our prior meetings. And while I don't normally read anything from my report, I do actually want to read two things because I think it's really important. So this year, our award recipients are Atul Mador and Shayla Ramon. And I don't see Shayla here, so I don't think she could make it. But I actually want to read what was shared at Holy Cross during the March 25th Scholars Luncheon, where Atul and Shayla were recognized. They were among around 75 of their peers. You have in front of you this evening the actual booklet that highlights all of the scholars, which is quite an event to see. But at the luncheon, superintendents from across Worcester County actually kind of took turns acknowledging each of the scholars and read kind of a short bio that was submitted by the school. I had the privilege of putting together the 75 statements that were read for each of the scholars, and so I'd like to read Atul's and Shayla's. Atul Mador has redefined what it means to lead through innovation. Actually, I think we saw that tonight. He guided his robotics team to a historic first, qualifying for the VEX Robotics World Championship, while also earning state-level recognition for his technical creativity. As class president, student advisory representative, and co-founder of the STEM Honor Society, Atul has made a lasting impact on his school community. His work even extends beyond the classroom, having interned in the field of emerging technologies. His journey is a powerful reminder to take chances and pursue bold ideas. And that was read in front of well over 100 individuals. And so it was certainly a moment of pride for me to hear that recognition and see Atul come up and be recognized in front of all of his peers. So Atul, congratulations again. And then for Ms. Ramon, Shayla Ramon has built an extraordinary record of achievement and leadership, from earning numerous academic awards to receiving both the Dartmouth Book Award and the Frederick Douglass and Susan B. Anthony Award. Shayla's impact spans academics, leadership, and service. At just 15, she was already leading adults in a church leadership program and creating systems to support her community. Grounded in gratitude, she recognizes the educators who have shaped her journey and continues to lead with purpose and faith. So just two outstanding individuals, and could not be more proud to recognize them this evening. And unfortunately, Shayla's not here, but we thought maybe we could do a quick picture with the school committee and Atul, if that's okay?
Sure. You got it. Yeah. So we'll all join in the front. Let's take a photo, yes?
Everybody ready? Oh, wait, Catherine, I can't see your.
Okay, you're good.
There we go.
No.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Congratulations. So the reception was pretty cool. Actually, the students had a chance to, we put all the kids together. And I mean, I will just tell you, like, I felt smarter just being in that space with all of them because, I mean, just being around Atul and Shayla was amazing, but they were surrounded by some pretty incredible peers. You guys had some great conversations too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I got to meet so many cool people. I mean, definitely talking about, where we're going next year too. And some people, oh, I'm going there too. And, got to connect and make some good connections.
Definitely the leaders of tomorrow, without question, in so many different fields. It was very, very cool. So congratulations again. Moving on to my next item, just a quick update on our student attendance and enrollment. I guess probably two highlights here to just note that the Department of Education has put out the targets for what they are expecting, not just Marlborough, all public school districts across the Commonwealth, but to reach as far as reducing its chronic absenteeism. Very happy to say that in both measures, they look at non-high school, which is grades 3 through 8, and they look at high school, which of course is the high school, 9 through 12. They look at those two measures. We are on target to meet or exceed both of those measurements. So while there's still lots of work to do, and there are grades that need more work than others, for sure, particularly our younger grades, preschool, for certain kindergarten, we've got a lot of work to do to set a strong foundation for those students. But we're happy that we are on track to make the reductions at least as required and expected by the Department of Education.
Just one quick comment. Especially after listening to the Portrait of the Learner, and we were talking about staff and student learning expectations and all of that, I would also say that we kind of need that family to have that same expectations, because as we talked about before, when we look at some of the attendance numbers, especially at kindergarten and with the chronic absenteeism, that's where we've really got to hit hard on understanding that it's got to start there. So we have the foundational numbers to understand the importance of attendance, because then hopefully we catch it early and we kind of solve it there. So that was just something that kind of hit me the minute we were talking about the Portrait of the Learner, that we've got to really set the right tone and expectations early.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that. And not only from the attendance perspective, but the foundational skills. Like the instructional skill set there is critically important for early numeracy and literacy. And so we continue, and I'll continue to update the school committee. This remains very much a strong focus for our team. And then the last item for my report is just a quick update on the Marlborough High School principal search. In your packet, we have a search timeline. The position was posted on April 2nd. We will have our first committee meeting after April vacation, which is around April 27th, with interviews following shortly thereafter. The goal is to have the finalists in front of the school committee by May 26th, so that we can start the onboarding and transition process and get the selected individual up to speed. So that, thank you to Patty Brown and the team that is heading up that work. As you know, Patty's also leading the charge for our middle school principal search. So
Busy.
busy, Patty.
Yeah. Okay. Busy. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Superintendent. Moving on to Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, Dr. Skaza.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Two brief updates tonight for the school committee. The first is on Richer School of which Atul Mador was an alumni. I am very pleased to report that Principal Richards and her team have been making significant progress at accelerating student learning growth for students at Richer, while simultaneously removing barriers that prevent students from learning. Based on results from fall to winter NWEA testing and reading, Richer's growth for all grades combined is in the 65th percentile. And I want to mention two notable points of accelerated growth that exist in kindergarten, with growth in reading in the 70th percentile and in grade 5 with growth in the 75th percentile. And if the school committee members recall, we were very concerned about the current 5th grade class based on their 4th grade performance. So we have seen the results that we were hoping to see based on the supports that Principal Richards and her team have put around the students, the teachers and the students. For math, growth for all students landed in the 64th percentile, with kindergarten currently in the 85th percentile and grade 5 in the 62nd. School committee members will also recall that alongside district leadership, Principal Richards placed additional staffing, programming, and structural supports in her grade 5 specifically. Additionally, I would like to highlight 2 recent staffing updates that will further support removing barriers to learning. Starting this month, Richard will introduce a full-time BCBA and a newly appointed re-engagement coach to the staff. The Office of Student Services has worked with Principal Richards to make this possible. We are confident that the spring NWEA test results will continue to indicate accelerated growth and achievement for Richer School. And I will be presenting to the school committee the end of year NWEA results for all schools, and we will highlight Richer School specifically.
Can I just comment? This is amazing. I mean, you told us what you needed, you got it, and it worked. It's amazing. Like, it's really, these are incredible numbers. Congratulations.
And she's building a new school as well.
On top of it all.
In her spare time. One other quick brief update. It's on the Curriculum Review and Renewal Committee, of which Chris Henry and I chair. The MPS Curriculum Review and Renewal Committee is off and running and underway. The entire group has met twice to identify focus areas, and a subcommittee has already been formed from this work. Led by Chris Henry and Jen Ryan, the K-5 Literacy Subcommittee has met separately to review the scope and sequence of the Into Reading program. This was necessary because there was a lot on teachers' plates. There was a lot they were managing with year 3 of the program and sustainability. So that subcommittee has already done some really important work to position teachers in a good place, led by Chris and Jen in that subcommittee. The entire group meets again. This is everyone. We have, it's roughly 20 to 25 members. At the end of this month, on April 30th, the goal of this next meeting is to form another subcommittee to begin work on a specific review of high school history curriculum. Although after Maggie Morrissey's presentation tonight, I think that Chris and I will talk a little bit about Algebra 1, 2, and geometry. We do have representation from high school teachers, and we have Heather Russo on that group too. So. And then finally, our Director of Instruction, Chris Henry, will present at a future school committee meeting to provide more detail around MPS curriculum focus areas for next school year. That concludes my report for tonight.
So that actually, you hit what I was going to ask you, is really around math. I mean, I know we've had a number of conversations around curriculum, all of the updates into math, the reading, the literacy, all of that. I hope we're going to continue to get more updates as you guys start to do more with it, but it does seem like math really needs to be critically looked at to see where that miss may be or what we need to do more to bolster, just like what you did at the elementary years, you know, making sure that we're not missing that block, especially at the high school level. So, okay,
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? So now let's move on to the school business manager, Mr. Mohammed. Right.
Thank you. So in your packet, you have the monthly expenditure report that tracks our spending, and it has the year-to-date expenditures and the FY26 expected expenditure that includes our projections, which we are continuing to fine-tune, and the remaining balances across all function codes. And the second item on my list is the transportation update. As previously reported, we are continuing to proactively look at transportation needs for our upcoming school year. And as part of that effort, we're reviewing, we're analyzing, and looking for potential adjustments for next year's transportation needs. And based on some of the data that we recently received from NRT, 560 students are currently assigned transportation at Whitcomb Middle. And with our preliminarily projections indicating that in addition, 91 students may become eligible next year. And at Marlboro High School, 402 students are currently listed on active routes with an estimated 115 additional students expected to become eligible. So less walkers, and we're looking at more data to plan accordingly and align our resources and be well prepared for our FY27 transportation needs.
Excellent.
That concludes my report.
Yeah, any questions, concerns? No? Good. Moving on. Okay. Acceptance of minutes. Minutes of March 24th, 2026 school committee meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Motion's on the table and seconded. Is there any questions, comments, concerns regarding the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor? Minutes are approved. Thank you. Okay. Public comment. Is there any public comment? Public comment. Any public comment for the second time? Seeing none, public comment. Last chance for the public comment. Seeing none, we are closing the public comment. Thank you. Action items and reports. Acceptance of donations and gifts. Mason's Angel Fund. Funds will go direct to assist families and students with eye appointments and eyeglasses for $139.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve is on the table. Questions, comments, concerns, and seconded. Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Friends of Marlboro, funds used for 5 playground communication boards for $1,750.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve is on the table and seconded. Questions, comments, concerns?
Does CPAC do fundraising? Like, where does CPAC get this money from?
Yeah, they do. Actually, I've been sitting on this group
Yeah.
and they've been doing an amazing job. I actually have to give a huge amount of kudos. Different activities that they've been running and they.
Is it like bake sales or are they doing grants? Are they applying for?
No, they haven't. So far, they have not gotten too many grants, but this was a grant opportunity that I think that they had worked on specific.
Yeah, so we have one of these here at the preschool
Right.
that MEF purchased.
Right.
And so that's, to be able to get 5 more is amazing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what MEF hopes to do is to,
And
introduce things like that. But
right
I
now-
was like, where are they getting the money?
yeah, and they're trying to, they've actually been really proactive. John Fletcher has been working with them, and they've spoken with Andy White because they were hoping to get ahead of this on getting one into Kane specifically, I think fairly quickly, to try and get it in, knock on wood, before the Touch a Truck or whatever it is, event that's early May. So I know that, we were trying to get this all moved along, but they have been doing a lot of different things to try and get families together and get some fundraising done. It's really, really great group. I'm really excited to, I've been able to pop in and out and they've been doing an amazing job.
Right. Yeah, and Andy, kudos to Andy, because when the one got delivered here, he had to go and, make some adjustments and figure out how to do it, and he's really creative, and DPW and, their whole crew, they partner really well with us to help install things like this, so
That is true.
kudos and thanks to Andy and his team.
Okay. So there is a motion and seconded for the approval of $1,750 for the Friends of Marlboro CPAC. Questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, all in favor of the donation? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, fiscal year 27 superintendent budget vote. We'll need a motion to accept the budget that was
move to
presented
accept-
during the public hearing. So if we remember about God, like 6 days ago, it feels like, after today's meeting, we had a public
14
hearing.
hours ago.
And so we were voting on the budget that was presented.
Move to accept the proposed budget.
Okay, and I will need a second because I will abstain from this.
Second.
Motion's on the table and seconded. Questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none. Let's do a roll call vote just because I have to abstain. Mr.
Yes.
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 And I will abstain.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Congratulations, Superintendent. Your budget was approved as is. Good. Alrighty. Next on the agenda is fiscal year 27 school choice participation. So this is a vote to see if we want to go into the school choice and participate or not. So I will need a motion to either go into school choice or not. Yes, Mr. Corson.
We do not.
Okay. Okay. There is a motion on the table to not participate in school choice. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any questions or comments or concerns regarding the school choice and not participating in the school choice?
Maybe someday. We've got enough on our plates this year. Again.
I mean, I think we have some room in our elementary schools if people want to join, but I highly doubt that. So, questions, comments, seeing none? All in favor of not participating? So, yes vote means that we are not participating. All in favor? Motion carries. We are not participating in school choice. Okay. We have already approved the Robotics World 2026 trip and the schematic design for the new Richer School project. So we'll move on to reports of school committee subcommittees. Yes, Ms. Hennessy.
Policy Subcommittee will have a meeting coming up on the 28th of April. AI is our primary focus on that meeting. We have two other policies that Ms. O'Brien asked us to take a look at, so we will add those to our agenda.
Okay.
So what date? The 28th, first thing in the morning. Has not gotten posted yet because we just settled on it.
Okay. Anything else from school committee subcommittee meetings? Seeing none? No? Okay. Members forum. Anything from members forum? Yes, Mr. Corso.
I just want to commend the team that presented the Pathways program after the school's fly-up day. You guys did a fantastic job. It was so fun watching things, because you're literally around the room, watching you people bounce things around the room, because obviously you had all prepared very well for this. And I think you made a great presentation. And the size of the audience that we had, which is very unusual at many middle school events, I can tell you as a teacher for many years, was very good, I thought. And the parents asked some extremely pertinent questions. Some were practical and some were obviously philosophical. But you guys did a great job. You just handled it so well. And I was just impressed literally watching the ideas and the commentary bounce around the room. Fantastic job. Thank you so much.
Anything else? Oh, go ahead.
Two observations. As a still new school committee member, I wanted to acknowledge that I sit here with admiration as I notice the transparency and straightforwardness with which we talk about our opportunities and our challenges. We saw that tonight in the Student Advisory Council update with the courage the young lady, I thought, demonstrated to talk about perceptions related to our challenges and attrition in support of the Pathways program. I thought that was noteworthy. I also don't know that we've been together since, Jason, your highlight from an April 7th email regarding the DESE statewide district rankings. I will do a bad job of this, so please correct me, but I thought it was worth noting the significant progress Marlborough made as a district in the statewide DESE rankings, rising to 46th out of 283 districts, so 16%, and significantly improved versus a prior ranking of bottom 10%.
Right. That's right. You got it.
Right. So Marlborough on the move, indeed.
On the move.
Thank
Right.
you.
Excellent. Yes.
Two things. Day on the Hill, we had that after our last meeting. It was great. Michelle and I were there, and the kids that were here for the presentations as well as a tool. We had great conversations and had a nice time with getting to see one of our legislators at that time and getting to sample some of the meals from our technical collaborative groups, which was fantastic. So really great day. Bless you. And then the other thing I wanted to say is the spring concert for the high school is on Thursday night. That'll be at Whitcomb. So just putting that on people's radars.
Do you know the time?
Yes.
It was not on my radar.
I'm gonna guess, no, excuse me, it says 6 o'clock. I was gonna say 7, but it says 6.
The 16th.
On the 16th. It is. I'm looking at the website right now.
Good morning. Thank you.
So,
Right. Yes. And the citywide art show already happened. So I was able to go and just to see the incredible amount of art that was displayed, and the showing up of the community was great. And then the wellness fair after that, both the cafeterias in the middle school were, I mean, different programs, different things, different activities. It's really just great to see the community come together. When you talk about district numbers and you talk about the new school and you talk about the robotics and then just the citywide and then the spring concert, like there's always something going on with our schools. So, I mean, to highlight all these different aspects, it's pretty exciting to sit here and kind of listen to all the wonderful things that Marlboro's doing as a district. So it doesn't seem like it ever seems to end because there's so many different facets, which is pretty remarkable for our district to continue to do so. So kudos to all of you. It was great to see all the artwork and seeing the kids excited about their artwork being displayed. So it was really great. So
that art show was amazing.
it was.
Amazing.
The talent. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was just doing stick figures. I still do. I don't understand that. The amount of media that they have is just very, very encompassing. So kudos to all of that. Anything else in members forum? Seeing none. Yes. No. I mean, I think you did enough. Your robotics and the accolades. Like I think we're good.
heard enough of it today.
We can't be any more proud of you at Fool. Like what else do you have for us? But having said that.
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn is on the table and seconded. All in favor of adjourning? We are adjourned at 9:12. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.